So today we're going to be taking a look at and analyzing Michael's heist crew from GTA 5. Basically analyzing how they came to be, who were the members, and how they eventually came to be the most wanted people of America throughout the 90s and the very early 2000s. So let's start things off with Michael and Lester. Michael and Lester met sometime after Michael's first robbery, which was committed back in 1988. So we can assume that Michael met Lester sometime in maybe 89, maybe 90, 91. That would be my assumption. And also, we gotta look at Trevor, because Trevor was also a very consistent member of their group. And with the year of Michael and Trevor meeting, it's always been debated, with some people going as far back as 1985 or 86, which I don't think is the case. Most people actually settled on the year of their meeting being 1993, which is the one I agree with. However, the contradictory thing here is that most people actually think that they met before Michael had his kids. However, we don't really know it for sure, but I'm gonna go ahead and assume that it was in fact 1993. Now, the thing with this is, Michael actually was kinda in need of a crew. He had Lester already, who was the planner of the heists, so he brought Trevor along. I mean, let's be honest, Trevor was a useful asset to his crew. He was an insane, crazy motherfucker who was overall desperate at the time, because this was the time back when he got kicked out of the Air Force first, and Michael actually introduced Trevor to the world of organized crime and basically taught Trevor how to rob shops and things. And because back at the time they weren't robbing huge banks like the Union Depository or something. They were still pretty small time back in the early 90s, but the thing that actually put them on the map is how long they were robbing all these places and such. And later they did move on to banks and bigger places and whatnot, but the thing that put them on the map really was the fact that they were robbing these places for so long and nobody could catch them. Nobody even knew who they were. The cops didn't actually know who they were. Let's go ahead and speculate that they were put on the radar at some point in 93, 94, back when Michael met Trevor and they started robbing together. This puts us at like at least 10 years worth of this giant freaking robbing spree with Michael, Trevor, and Lester. And I also want to mention Brad real quick, because Brad was actually introduced to the crew by Trevor. Now, even though we know that pretty much none of the crew members actually liked Brad, Trevor was still loyal to Brad because that's just the type of person Trevor is. He hates betrayal. And we know that Michael and Brad actually never got along real well, and neither did Lester get along with Brad really much. So the only reason they even kept that guy around was because of Trevor, and Brad was a douchebag to that point that he actually wanted to cut Michael off, who, let's be real, he was actually kind of the heist leader because he had the most expertise, he had the most experience out of all of them. So it was mostly Michael, Lester, and Trevor. Now here's also a really interesting point. I want to go ahead and quickly backtrack and discuss how Michael and Trevor actually met. This is also confirmed by Trevor in the mission Pac-Man. Now, Michael and Trevor met again presumably in 1993 back in North Yankton, and essentially I don't want to go too into detail because it would be really long, but what you need to know is that Michael robbed a guy who Trevor was supposed to meet at an airport, and Trevor tried to play peacemaker apparently, which I highly fucking doubt because we all know Trevor. Fucking shit! Cut! Things got heated really quick in this situation, and Trevor actually set off a flare gun, and it went right into the civilian's eye, the same civilian which Michael robbed, and they killed the guy. They had to dump him in a lake, and they said that they both threw up when dumping his body into the lake. Bro, even Trevor said that it was a horrible experience. When Trevor says something like that, you know it was some fucked up shit. But back on track though, that's how their crime spree started, and for the next 10 or so years, they actually went on a giant robbing spree all across the east coast of the United States as well as the Midwest, which of course eventually led to Michael making the under the table deal with Dave to basically get rid of his entire crew, which of course went wrong, and we all know how that all ties into the prologue mission, which happened in 2004. And as we all know, the deal didn't really go to plan. Trevor went on the run, Brad got shot, yada yada yada. One thing I actually want to mention again towards the end of the video, which I kind of forgot about, it's worth mentioning that Trevor actually committed his first robbery. Now, it isn't really known when his robbery took place, but it's probably sometime before he met Michael, because as we can hear from this cutscene, he wasn't really the most experienced guy at doing this stuff. He robbed a dude who he knew, and he got 6 months in jail, which turned into 4. And that's pretty much it. That's a quickly summed up story of Michael, Trevor, and the entire heist crew before the time of Franklin, of course. This was before the prologue. So that's basically the story of how the heist crew came to be, how they became the most wanted people of America, and what actually led up to the events of the prologue. So for those of you that didn't know about this part of GTA 5's lore, I hope you learned something new. I hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you so much for watching. If you like what I'm doing here on YouTube with regards to Kingdom Hearts, Mafia, GTA, and Uncharted, and so on, I would really appreciate if you left a like on this video and subscribe to my YouTube channel, as it helps out a lot. Until the next video or stream, thank you so much for watching again, and bye bye.